Welcome to this short presentation about the representation of the prosody of Ladin chanted calls. 30 years ago, Hayes and Lahiri analyzed the prosody of chanted calls in English and in Bengali. Chanted calls, as we know, sound like this.
Maddalena.
Hayes and Lahiri concluded that this sentence type was characterized by both an intonation contour and a final lengthening, which was phonological at the postlexical level. Distinctive postlexical lengthening was also documented in Western Greenlandic, Asturian, Extremaduran Spanish, among others. Now, if such postlexical lengthening is phonological, it should be represented. And the question is, what kind of formal representation should be attributed to durationally specified contours to distinguish them from ordinary intonation contours? Our research analyzes data of chanted calls in Ladin, an understudied Romance language, with the aim of suggesting a possible answer to Hayes and Lahiri's question. By means of a discus completion task, we collected 216 utterances produced by 6 speakers. 9 names were uttered as chanted calls, and the same 9 names were uttered as broad focus statements, which served as a baseline for the analysis of duration. We annotated the sounds in Pratt, and we extracted information about the position of F0 inflection points and about the duration of several parts of the utterances. For example, the whole utterance, unstressed syllables, stressed syllables, final syllables, nucleus, uncertain coda of the final syllable, and so on. For duration, we ran 2 Taylor-Wilcoxon sign rank tests to check whether there were statistically significant differences in duration between the statements and the calls. The results for F0 were not surprising. We found a rising-falling contour, which is usual in Romance for chanted vocatives. The representation of this contour is not very complex. The low plus high star has a primary association with the stressed syllable, and this primary association is represented with a red line. Its component tones have secondary association with the left and right edges of the same syllable, and such secondary associations are represented with red dashed lines. The downstep high boundary tone has a primary association with the IP and a secondary association with its right edge. And now let's see the results for duration. Phonetically, the only statistically significant difference between the vocatives and the corresponding statements lies in the nucleus of the final syllable, which is approximately twice as long in calls. Phonologically, a way to account for the lengthening of calls in Ladin is postulating that the prosody of this sentence type is not the result of the interplay between 2 tiers only, a segmental one and a tonal one, but among 3 tiers. A segmental or lexical tier that contains vowels and consonants, which is represented in green in this picture, and 2 suprasegmental strings. One that contains tones and is represented in red in the picture, and another one that contains what we tentatively call durational phonemes, and this last tier is represented in blue. We suggest that such durational phonemes can be thought of as prosodic mora that, in certain sentence type like chanted calls, are associated with certain positions of the prosodic structure. In this case, the prosodic mora is associated with the nucleus of the final syllable. The blue line in figure 3 represents this association. As a conclusion, we'd like to go back to Hayes and Lahiri's question. We suggest that if we want to represent phonological postlexical duration in a way that is compatible with the autosegmental metrical model, we can introduce a suprasegmental tier where durational phonemes are represented in terms of prosodic morae, or, if we prefer, postlexical morae. Thank you for your attention, or, as we say in Ladin, di lang.